A princess lived in a luxurious castle. She was only 14 years old, but she was terribly spoiled and moody. Once she came up with something for April to come, and there were spring flowers at the New Year's banquet. She issued a decree in which she announced the beginning of spring and promised to generously reward the one who brings snowdrops to the palace. In a small house on the outskirts of the city lived a stepmother with her daughter and stepdaughter. The stepdaughter was a very sweet and kind girl, and her name was Masha. The stepmother and daughter were very lazy and angry, and they hurt the poor girl in every possible way. They really wanted to receive the reward promised by the princess, but they could not think of where to get the snowdrops in winter. The old woman decided to send Masha to the forest to bring them spring flowers. The stepdaughter began to beg her stepmother to take pity on her, because it was dark and cold outside. And what kind of snowdrops can there be in winter? But the greedy old woman did not want to hear anything. She gave a larger basket and drove Masha out the door. The frozen girl was very scared in a dark forest. Suddenly, in the distance, she saw a light. She was delighted and went to meet him. It turned out that it was a large blazing fire, and 12 people were warming themselves around it. Plucking up her courage, the girl approached them and told them that the evil stepmother made her go into the forest and collect snowdrops. It turned out that it was 12 months. The brothers felt sorry for Masha, and they decided to help her. Brother April chanted a spell, and suddenly spring came in the forest and in the clearing. The snow melted, green grass appeared, snowdrops blossomed. The girl began to collect flowers and soon filled a large basket with them. Young April liked her very much, and he gave her a magic ring. If trouble happens, he must be thrown to the ground, a spell cast, and all 12 months will come to the rescue. Masha thanked them and went home. When the girl brought the snowdrops home, the stepmother and daughter were very surprised at this. Masha was very tired from the journey and immediately fell asleep soundly. Her half-sister suspected something was wrong. While the girl was sleeping, she found her magic ring and took it to herself. After waking up, the stepdaughter discovered the loss. She began to beg to return the ring, but her stepmother and daughter did not want to hear anything. Taking a basket of snowdrops, they hurried to the royal palace. In the palace there was a magnificently decorated New Year tree. But the upcoming celebration did not please the capricious princess at all. And only when the stepmother and daughter brought her a whole basket of snowdrops, the princess changed her anger to mercy. The stepmother could not clearly answer where the flowers came from, and she had to admit that her stepdaughter had collected them. The princess immediately decided to go to the meadow with snowdrops. On the way, she looked to poor Masha, so that she would show her the place where she picked flowers. The girl said she would show it, but only if the ring was returned to her. From such insolence, the princess was angry and threw away the ring. But the stepdaughter managed to cast a spell. Immediately a strong wind rose, thunder rumbled, foliage fell, and snow began to fall. Old Man January appeared before them. He invited everyone to make one wish. Out of fear, the princess wished to be in the palace as soon as possible. Masha made a wish that everything would return to its place in due time, winter in winter, summer in summer. The stepmother and her daughter were so frozen that they wanted fur coats from any fur, even from a dog. Saying this, the greedy women immediately turned into dogs. They were harnessed to a sleigh on which the princess was to get to the palace. Masha thanked the brothers for their help. They promised to turn the stepmother and her daughter back into humans, but only when they become obedient. Months gave the girl a wonderful big sled, harnessed by frisky horses. Seeing them, the princess asked for a ride to the palace. It was the first time in her life that the princess had uttered the word please. And Masha gladly agreed. Stingy old Mr. Scrooge has long loved nothing or anyone but his own money. He did not understand the joy that Christmas and New Year brought to others. Therefore, on the eve of the holiday, the old man refused to let his assistant leave work early, who wanted to buy a present for his son. Mr. Scrooge even turned down his nephew's invitation to celebrate Christmas with his family, and also refused to donate money to help children in need. The old man closed his office late in the evening and went home. And then, in his bedroom, strange things began to happen. A wind blew from somewhere, thunder rumbled, and suddenly the ghost of his companion, who had died last Christmas, appeared in front of him. Mr. Scrooge was very scared and did not understand what was happening. The spirit said that after death he was punished for not doing good and not helping people during his lifetime. He did not want the old man to suffer the same fate. So he warned Scrooge that 3 other ghosts would soon visit him. After these words, the spirit disappeared. The old man pretended that nothing had happened. But soon, the ghost of a child appeared before him. Mr. Scrooge was stunned because it was the spirit of his past years. The ghost, with the help of magic, transferred them to the past. The old man saw himself as a little boy in the town where he was born and raised. He was decorating the Christmas tree, and he had a lot of fun. Then Mr. Scrooge saw himself in his youth, the day when, full of delight and hope, he proposed to his beloved. After that, the old man saw himself matured. His wife was crying, and he could not understand why she decided to part with him. The fact is that Scrooge no longer paid attention to her, but only thought about money. The old man could not look at such himself from the side, and asked the ghost to return him back. The spirit eventually disappeared, but another ghost appeared in its place. He carried Scrooge to his assistant's home on Christmas Eve. The whole family was sitting at a poor table. The old man was sure that they all hated him, but he became convinced that this was not so. The aide offered a toast to Mr. Scrooge's health, and his wife very willingly joined the toast. And then the old man noticed that the son of his assistant was sick. Scrooge felt sorry for the child and ashamed of his behavior. Then the ghost took the old man to the house of his nephew. His whole family was happy about the holiday. Most importantly, they left a seat at the table for Mr. Scrooge. The old man did not expect to see this. He always thought that the whole family hated him. Eventually the ghost disappeared, but the spirit of future years appeared in its place. He brought Mr. Scrooge to his own funeral. Everyone said that it became easier for them when the old man finally died. Only then did he realize that in his entire life he had not brought good to anyone. Then Scrooge saw his helper carrying flowers to his son's grave. The old man could no longer look at it, and asked the ghost to bring him back. The third spirit disappeared, and Scrooge was back at home. The old man finally decided to change for the better. Fortunately, he found that time had gone back a few hours. Mr. Scrooge decided not to waste a minute. He still had time to change everything. The old man was sincerely happy about the approaching Christmas. He sent the most expensive and fattest turkey to his assistant's house. Scrooge then sent a gift to the helper's son, and donated a huge amount of money to charity. After that, the old man went to celebrate Christmas with his nephew, where the whole family welcomed him. The next day, when Scrooge's assistant came to work, he raised his salary. For his son, the old man became a godfather. Mr. Scrooge gave the boy the best possible treatment, and he continued to enjoy a healthy life. Since then, the stingy old man has become the kindest and most generous person in the city, and has earned universal love and respect.